Alrighty, so I'm just gonna hopefully this works. And oh my goodness, I am not that tech savvy, but let's just make sure that this all works for you. And this should go into present mode. Of course, it's not going to not let me get this into present mode. The computer had an update overnight, so of course it changed absolutely everything on my end, which is amazing. So thank you so much. Let me just get it back.
It's always the case.
Oh my goodness, I tell you, it's one of those things. Okay, cool. And every time I log on to Zoom, it changes where everything absolutely is as well. So it's great. All right. Hopefully you can see this as well. So basically, there's a couple of reasons why a lot of people are not finding you online. And a lot of the things is that we're not creating anything different. And one of the key things that I realized is that your story is the most important part of your journey, because let's face it, there's a million coaches online, there's a million accountants. We can talk about any industry, but the one thing that's going to separate you is your actual story. And when we start using our story, we create a point of difference with it. So your founder story, I always start with people to say, if you're not sharing that, then basically I'm just a person, then you are doing yourself a disservice. And there's four key points when we talk about the founder story. And the founder story for me has been the pivotal moment. So for those who don't know me, I'm Christine I.N.S.P.I.R.E, and I am the founder of a media ecosystem that helps create and build your authority, influence, and your legacy. And I've done all of this simply by sharing my story. And I worked in corporate. I did 22 something years in corporate. And then my life changed. There was a number of different things that happened. And when I came out of it and started thinking about, well, what was I going to do next? I got interviewed. And from that interview, this whole business has transpired. And this is the power of stories that people relate. So people buy from people. We learned a lot during COVID that people were supporting, small businesses. And this is where I created the story method and now have created a global media ecosystem. So that ecosystem consists of three main brands. We have the Corporate Escapists, and with the Corporate Escapists has Inspire magazine. So Corporate Escapists is a eco hub basically for entrepreneurs to help you get started. We're going to be introducing a lot of courses on there. We've also got our writers workshop happening next month as well, where we're teaching you how to write your story and then also self-publish your book. We also do co-authored books, and obviously we've got the Inspire magazine where we feature incredible entrepreneurs from all around the world. The Inspire magazine is a global publication. It is online, and we have an incredible distribution company that we've partnered with, and we're now in front of over 10 million people worldwide. So that's the first part of the ecosystem. Then we move on to another part, which is called Just as Planned. And Just as Planned is for the wedding industry. And basically, I use the same framework that I've gone and built the Corporate Escapists and Inspire magazine, and realize that you can actually go down into a particular industry. So we're focusing on wedding vendors, and again, using the stories, using the processes and all that we have, so that we can go in and yeah, showcase their incredible their gifts as well. And with that, we have a magazine, we have a podcast, and we also do in-person events. And I forgot to mention that with the Corporate Escapists, we also have our podcast. And then from that, we added on a third part of the ecosystem, which is awards. And those awards are basically showcasing your gifts and sharing it to the world. And I call these incredible people change makers. And we celebrate once a year. We've got our next awards. They're called the I.N.S.P.I.R.E awards, and they're happening in October this year. And applications are actually open now for it. But all of that combined creates this ecosystem. And every part of that has come down to sharing a founder story. And this is why I know what I'm sharing absolutely works. And like I said, there's 4 parts to the founder story. And if you can start sharing all of this, this then actually allows people to go through what we call the like, no, trust factor. That like, no, trust factor plays a really important part in our journey. Now, marketing experts show that we actually need to have 26 touch points for somebody to get to know you before they will even go through and buy from you. And when you start sharing your story, you actually 10x that. So pretty much you only need to have around about 5 to 10 touch points with people, because the like, no, trust factor happens a lot quicker. So if we think about it, we go into the before, which was for me, which was like my corporate identity. I thought that was where I was meant to be, working in corporate with it. So what happened was I got diagnosed with some illnesses. I had to file for bankruptcy. There was a whole heap of different things that happened. And that then turned into what I call the turning point. It was almost like I needed to do something else, and then started sharing my story. Now, from the story, what then happened is I had people reach out all around the world going, oh my goodness, like that was incredible. This is what happened to me. And this is how the Corporate Escapists all started. And this is when I started to realize the power of stories. And over the last few years, I've been really honing all of that in even more to be able to create a beautiful ecosystem as well. So with this, then you go ahead and you go and create your mission. Now, this is really, really important. So my mission is to share 1,000,000 stories. And with that one there is that I want to be able to help create the ability for people to go from being invisible to visible, to be able to help them be that leader in their field, to help them stand out as the change maker, help them be the authority, and help them create their legacy. And this is through their story. There's no fancy taglines. There's no, fancy logos. This is just raw, honest vulnerability, talking about your story and how to craft it in a way that will set you apart from everybody else. Now, generally speaking, what also happens is that when we start sharing our story, is that we lead into what we call the proof. And basically, generally speaking, most of us is going to be our very first client. We're going to be our very first transformation. We've probably used all the different tools, and that had been my case. I had used everything that I had learned in corporate, been able to transfer that into it. But then also too, is that now what it is that I have taken the leap and now showing people of what absolutely is possible. And so all 4 of those equal up into different story points that you create and you start sharing. And it's really, really important too is to think about the placement of those particular stories, because there's one thing that I have actually learned is that sharing your founder story is so important, but also too, there comes a point where we need to make sure that our identity equals into our story as well. So sometimes what can happen is that the story that you've been sharing may not be where your business is going. And getting that story right is so important. And I've found that over the years, I've moved through these 4 different phases to be able to share it, to match my clients that are coming in, match my identity, and also match the growth of where I see the business as well. So they're the 4 key parts to it. And then when sharing your story, hopefully it'll go. Then what I've done is created a 7-step journey of how you then can become highly visible with it. Now, obviously, we've gone through and we've talked about identifying the story. So that's your lived experiences. Now, funny enough, like some of the funny things that I share, and that also attracts clients as well. So it doesn't always have to be the challenges that you've overcome. Like, share the good parts as well. And for me, like I did like an intro post into a new group where I'm going to be doing some speaking on. And one of the things I shared was that I can have a secret, a not so secret love affair with, chocolate. Like, and it's just those funny little moments that people start to remember you by. A lot of people will notice my dog when we're out and about, before they notice me. So think about all those different bits and pieces that actually combine to who you are as well. And that all forms part of your identity. You need to add personality into it. It's so important into it. So, we're sharing our story, we're being deep, we're being vulnerable, we're sharing the transformation, but make sure you add a little bit of your personality into it as well. It's super important for it. Now, the next part is that we move into, which is the nurture your message. So again, it's sharing that story with that clarity. It's also sharing it from a really soulful, and purposeful place as well. So every time before I go and share something, I want to make sure, well, what is the reason that I'm sharing it? Like when I did the webinar, what was the reason that I wanted to do it? Yes, there is part of a sales process, but for me is I want people to understand that you don't need to be invisible anymore online. It is my life mission now to share this with the world. And if I got one person on it, and there's a lot of people here that are going to be watching the replay. So, I want to make sure that, people understand all of this, and if they can use it, because I'm living proof that it absolutely works. So it's really important that you know what the end goal is when you're sharing your message. All right. What is it? Do you want to get more followers? Do you want to get more engagement? Do you want to share, parts of your why? All of that is so important for it. Now, I've got the next part, which is share with soul, which like the two actually go together, because a lot of the times I see so many people that they post a particular way online, and when you meet them in person, they are 2 completely different people. So it's really important that your message is authentic and it's really coming out, that it's not just a performance. You've got that heart and soul going into it as well. Now, the next key thing is what I love working with people is how to position yourself with purpose. All right. How do we turn your message into a magnetic brand and mission? And this is something I absolutely love. I've got 2 beautiful new clients that we're working with at the moment, and, helping them craft their message. Now, a lot of them are done. One's already created a book. One has got an incredible business. And what we're doing is working out how we position them. And it really comes back down to the why. And, they never thought about that why as part of the brand. And when we start talking about brand, it's not also the business brand. It is also your personal brand. Personal brand is, I have found that a lot of people still don't even know the businesses that I have. They know me. And this is where I say, people buy from people. All right. So if you now can turn your personal brand into this magnetic brand, all right, this is one of the key things that I talk to people about, is that people want to know the reason why. People want to hear your message. People want to know about you, the fun things that happen, the little stories, all that sort of stuff. Then you become front of mind, and then people will go and buy your products, because the like and know trust factor is actually already there. You've done it with your personal brand. And then when we've turned it into a really, magnetic brand, so your personal brand plus also your business brand, and you combine it together, the combination amplifies. So basically what happens is that you've got your personal brand still running, you've got your business brand running, and it just creates this beautiful apex that, it just shoots up, and, people are coming in from both sides as well. So you're not just having to rely on the business brand, you're also bringing in people on a personal level as well. And then they start to go, oh my God, like this person also has this, like I want to work with them. And I had a client the other week. She's like, Christine, I just know that you can help me. What can you do? And it was never about price. It was just going, I know that you're the person. You'll speak your truth. You understand it. Like, I'm out there sharing all of this with the world. So this is why it's so important to make sure that you're growing a personal brand along with your business brand as well. And then when you infuse the two of it together, which is when we come to the next part, you actually get really authentic visibility, because you're showing up as you. All right. I don't like, you meet me online and I'm exactly the same way that you're going to meet me in person. All right. I feel that there's something so unique about that. There was a coach who I really wanted to work with, and I had been following her for quite a while, and then I got an opportunity to meet her in person, and two completely different people. And I was just like, wow, I'm actually really grateful that I got to meet them in person, because there was just no alignment there as well. So you really want to make sure that how you show up in every single aspect is the same way, because people need that consistency as well. Now, the next thing is reclaiming your power. And one of the things that I talk a lot about with my clients is to let go of the shame and guilt that's around our story. We do deep dives when we work together on that, making sure that we're really showing up unapologetic in our voice as well. Because, look, we've come to do this business, there's reasons for it. You've got a purpose, you've got a passion with it. So a lot of the times, the thing that's stopping us is ourselves. All right. And this is the thing that we need to now go through and step out of it. And we need to let go of the fear. And one of the things, if you can leave with anything today, remember, it's not about you. When I used to go online, I was so scared of sharing online with people. But one of the things that I realized is actually it's not about me, it's about who I can potentially help. And it makes you move out of your own way from it. Now, this is the key part. How do you elevate your legacy, and how are we going to make you highly visible? So this part here is the absolute key. I see so many people say to me, Christine, well, I've been posting online. I have been sharing my posts. I've been commenting, all those different amazing things that you do on social media. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not enough. All right. So I would love for you today just to think about, how do you like to consume information? How do you like to, if it's reading, how do you like to read? And this is why I've created the ecosystem, is that one of the things that I realized is, and I was so grateful for the corporate career to do that. My son was getting in trouble in school, and like they're like going, he just won't sit in class and all this sort of stuff. And then I learnt about learning development. I was delivering training in corporate, and one of the things that they were teaching you is like how adults learn, and they need information delivered differently. And I thought, well, if that happens with adults, it's got to happen with children. And it just means that sitting down in a classroom was not for him. Now we think about our clients, our clients learn differently. We're looking at neurodivergency, like all this amazing stuff that's in the world. We need to make sure that people can consume our information. And by just posting is not enough anymore. We need to give them options. So we have the magazine. So people can flip through the magazine if they, for the people who are featured, they get hard copies printed, so they can read through it, they can hand it out to their clients as well. We also have our books, so people can buy ebooks. They can also buy the printed copies of the books. Then they've got the podcast, and we do our podcast in two ways. We have it on YouTube so people can watch you. We also have it on the normal podcast platforms so people can listen to you. All right, so we're giving people multiple ways of how they can actually consume your story, how they can consume your amazing gifts, and leaving that out there. Now, one of the things that all of that does is that we use backlinks. And these backlinks are so super powerful because they're like leaving little breadcrumbs. And the more content that you start bringing up, Google starts picking that up. So even if you've just got a website, did you know that you need to actually create new content onto your website every week for Google to continue to keep that up and to keep ranking you as number one? So we create blog articles. All right. So every week there's a new blog article that goes up that keeps us relevant. All right. We're leaving your backlinks on YouTube, on Spotify, on our podcast, on our blog articles, in our magazine. They're all backlinked into there as well. All right. So it's not just your business name, it's also your personal name. And it's actually easier to get ranked higher with your personal name than what it is with a business. All right. You're competing with so many different people. All right. I've just used coaches, for example. Like if you type in top coaches in Brisbane, like the list is endless. Right. You've got about 50 pages on Google that you've got to go through. But if you can put your name in there, people will remember you. So they've seen you on the podcast, they've seen you in the magazine, now they've seen you on our website. They listen to you. You get to then share all of that. This is the key part of turning it into real visibility. And it takes you from just simply posting on your social sites to now creating this very beautiful ecosystem where you're getting multiple touch points with your clients as well. And the best part about it is it's evergreen. And what that means is that the podcast is always there. The YouTube is always there. The blog articles are always there. We have back issues of the magazine. So the information is always there for people to be able to find and to use. And then I love Gary Vee. We actually use his whole method, and we show you then how to take all of that to then go ahead and then create multiple pieces of content, because a lot of people are just posting, these long form content, or, just short content like for Instagram. There's a whole heap of things that you can actually use with all of it. So being on the podcast, you can create reels. From it, you can create sound bites. You can pick up like a key phrase that you've used and you turn that into a graphic. So all of that then actually creates this very beautiful ecosystem. And this is how you turn your story into impact. This is how you go from being hidden to highly visible. This is how you become noticed. And this is how you become relevant. And this is how you create content that actually converts clients as well. So, like I said, I really love to, create, short, informative webinars. I don't believe in going in for absolutely a long period of time. I love to just share information with people and, keep it relevant for it. So, I know there's a couple of on you there today, and there's a couple of people who have messaged me today for the recordings. So if you've got any questions, I'm going to open it up to you guys to go in and share with us. Are there any questions? Olivia, do you have any questions? No, Clinton's on here. Can't see, but if there's any questions. Amazing, amazing. Well, look, I'm going to just, if you've got a couple of minutes, I'm just going to quickly share how the different ways that you can work with us and how we can help you become more visible. So next month we have our writers workshop, the 2-day writers workshop. So basically you're going to get our whole complete package. So you become into our co-author book, you show you how to write your story. So then you create compelling content. In addition to that is that you also get an article inside the magazine and also an interview on the podcast as well. So you get the whole complete visibility package with it. Now, there is other options where you can come just into the magazine, into the podcast, or if you wanted to, you can come just into the co-author book as well. And the articles inside the magazine, they start at $997, and that gets you a 4-page article inside the magazine. And in addition to that, you get an interview onto the podcast, and we then will show you then how to actually create all of that content. But if you want the whole package, then obviously that is our writers workshop. And like I said, it's a 2-day workshop that's happening next month on the 19th and 20th of June. It's based onto the Gold Coast. We've had lots of people who are saying that they can't get to the Gold Coast, so we will actually be doing an online event later this year. We're just working out all the logistics with it as well. But that, just to get into the room, it's a $1,000 deposit, and then the balance is the 3,997, and you get 6 months to pay that off as well. But that gives you everything, and we're going to really spend some time to craft that story, really set you out as that leader in your field. But in addition to that is that you get to be a published author. We're going to show you also how to write your story. But in addition to that, you get article inside the magazine, you come into the podcast. So in a way, you've actually got 12 months worth of visibility, and really, like I said, help leave all those breadcrumbs around so that people can come in and really see you and really get you visible as well. So if any of those interest you, send us an email. It's hello@thecorporateescapers.com. And yeah, we're going to be putting this up onto YouTube for people to be able to watch later as well. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. And, I hope you got something out of it. Just know that your founder story is so important. But if you use the 7-step I.N.S.P.I.R.E method and you really go in and start to nurture your message, and then you start thinking about, I use the word breadcrumbs. I just think it's so important that you've got to be able to get yourself out of there, and you've got to get yourself even more visible. And just posting on socials these days is not enough. There's billions of users on Facebook, and you're competing for that landscape. So we've got to start thinking outside the box of how you get visible. But also, most importantly, it's your story. Your story is the key point of making you stand out from the crowd as well. So if there's nothing else, as I said, I like to keep these nice and short because I appreciate everyone's time. But if there's anything else, I will say thank you so much for being here today. And I really hope that you enjoyed today's session as well.
It was good, thank you. It was a good building block from the last time I heard you speak.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, and just like how to, expand it. And if you went through and looked at that founder story, I think, Olivia, you can get a lot out of that as well, for it. Like your why is going to be really important, to grow that brand for you. But yeah, just maybe that next step of taking it into a personal brand for you as well. It doesn't have to be full blown, just like little steps with it, because I think you've got a lot more to offer with it, and it leads to multiple opportunities with it. And I look at it also too that if I was to sell my businesses tomorrow, I literally still could be creating revenue because I have a personal brand and people want to hear you speak, like all those different things as well. So there is an added benefit to doing it as well. So yeah, if there's no more questions, Clinton, thank you so much for being here. But yeah, if there's no more questions, I'll let you all go. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. And I really hope that you enjoyed it, and let's stop being invisible online. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, and I will see you next time.
Right, thank you.